The shadow of the buffalo quietly glided across the tall grass, heavy and alert, as if it itself were also watching every movement around it. In this world, just a small mistake is enough for everything to reverse in an instant. Today, the Hadzabe hunters step into a confrontation they understand all too well. This is not merely a hunt, but a fragile boundary between life and the ever-lurking danger. The savanna stretched out like an endless sea of grass, the wind sweeping across it, creating dry and unpredictable sounds. The Hadzabe moved forward slowly, each step steady, their eyes fixed on the footprints still clearly imprinted on the soft ground. Every small detail mattered, a deep indentation, a displaced branch, or blades of grass pressed down. All of them were signs that the animal was very close. They understood clearly that this was not merely a hunt, but a confrontation with an animal powerful enough to turn the situation at any moment. The entire group paused for a brief moment. Quiet hands checked the bowstrings again, adjusted the arrows, ensuring that there were no mistakes whatsoever. No one spoke, but everyone understood that when the decisive moment arrived, there would be no second chance. The silence gradually grew heavy, as if the entire space were tightening around them. Every step was carefully measured, every movement tightly controlled. Quick glances exchanged information without the need for words, keeping the group moving as a single, unified whole. This was no longer an ordinary hunt. This was a battle of wits, where every sense had to operate at its highest level. They moved stealthily through the grass, keeping their bodies low, observing even the slightest signs from the surrounding environment. The distance was gradually closing, but at that very moment, an uncontrollable factor suddenly emerged. The buffalo was closer than they had expected. The faintest sound from the grass, the slightest movement, was enough to make the entire group freeze. Their heartbeats began to pound as the surrounding space seemed to slow down. Every breath and every current of wind became clearer than ever, reminding them that the line between safety and danger was now extremely fragile. They understood that even a single moment of distraction could unravel the entire plan, turning the hunt into an uncontrollable situation. The pressure mounted even before the actual confrontation had begun, where every step forward carried risk, and every decision could determine the outcome. Will the group of hunters spot the buffalo first, or will they be the ones discovered? Share your prediction below. The wind suddenly shifted direction, carrying traces of human presence straight ahead, causing the buffalo to halt. its head raised and body tensed as it stood still, silently scenting the air, while the entire savanna seemed to hold its breath in that moment when the Hadzabe were forced to lower themselves and remain in place, for they understood that even a single mistake at this point would be enough to bring everything to an immediate end. In a situation where even the slightest change could reveal their position, would the group of hunters be able to get close enough without being detected, or would the buffalo notice their presence first? The buffalo began to move with a more unpredictable rhythm, each step like a test that forced the Hadzabe to constantly adjust their positions, because even a single sudden movement from it could shatter the fragile, safe distance they had just established. The entire group had to make decisions in silence, advance, hold their ground, or change direction, and they understood that just one wrong choice could make the situation immediately dangerous. But most importantly, they maintained their composure. Quick glances exchanged signals, subtle gestures clear enough to keep the entire group moving as a single unified body. Each step was slow, each observation careful. The arrows were always ready, yet no one rushed, for they knew that in this confrontation, patience and awareness of the environment mattered more than any advantage in speed or strength. The buffalo continued to change direction constantly, seemingly always one step ahead of every calculation, causing the group's heart rates to quicken with each of its movements, while the pressure mounted noticeably, yet their focus remained at the highest level. Then suddenly, it accelerated and charged toward another area, forcing the Hadzabe to react immediately. Some lowered their bodies to avoid being detected. Others maintained a ready stance with bows in hand. And in that brief moment, everything became so tense it nearly stood still, as they once again realized that nature never follows any predictable rules. When the opportunity appeared, an arrow was released, but it missed the target. In an instant, everything changed completely as the buffalo reacted violently, shifting direction and accelerating, breaking the entire previous balance, forcing the Hadzabe to adapt immediately, retreating while adjusting their strategy under intense pressure. Then the buffalo gradually disappeared behind the dense bushes, but the sense of danger did not fade at all, for everyone understood that the most difficult part of the hunt was not yet over, and what happened next would determine the entire outcome. In the next few seconds, the entire group moved, while observing and simultaneously trying to anticipate the buffalo's direction, as every movement demanded absolute precision, and every decision carried palpable pressure, making the surrounding atmosphere taut as a drawn bowstring. The animal continued to move with remarkable agility, constantly changing direction as if always in control of the distance, making every prediction more difficult. And at this point, every decision, whether to advance or retreat, became a precise calculation, where absolute focus was the only factor keeping them safe. Even in that situation, the Hadzabe remained composed. They observed the buffalo's movement patterns, adjusted their positions, and coordinated with one another smoothly, turning every action into the result of experience and a deep understanding of the surrounding environment. And at this point, this was no longer simply a hunt, but rather a clear expression of the connection between humans and nature, where instinct, skill, and awareness coexist to create a fragile balance.
apes is unacceptable, not because of failure, but because it means when an animal
even in the calm. They watched the buffalo's breathing, anticipated its direction, and just a hunt. It's a powerful display of harmony between humans and the wild, where instinct Then, the buffalo
As the buffalo gradually moved farther away, the group of hunters realized that the opportunity was gone. They stopped, quickly checked everything, and made the decision to withdraw safely, carrying with them valuable experience in observation, anticipation, and control of situations in this high-risk environment. The hunt ended without the expected outcome, but what they gained held more lasting value than any trophy. In an environment like this, strength is not the only determining factor. Rather, it is patience, observational ability, and an understanding of nature that enable them to survive. And those very factors will also determine the outcome of future hunts. If you want to continue following tense moments like these, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. What do you think the next challenge will be?